Quick question. Did school ever teach money? 15 years, thousands of hours, hundreds of tests, but almost nothing about money, how it grows, how debt traps you, how taxes drain paychecks, how to build wealth without endless work. Then adulthood hits and you're expected to just know. You're not broken. The system skipped the essentials. That gap was by design. Today, I'll show what schools omit, money, what they teach instead, and how that silence keeps millions stuck. What schools are designed to teach? Have you ever stopped to wonder why, after more than a decade of formal education, you probably learned more about the Pythagorean theorem than you did about personal finance? It's a question that reveals a fundamental truth about our school system. Because while we think schools are teaching us a broad range of knowledge, they are exceptionally good at teaching one specific thing above all else: obedience. It's the hidden curriculum woven into the very fabric of every school day. From a young age, you're trained to sit quietly and absorb information passively, follow instructions without question, memorize information for a test only to forget it later, ask for permission to do basic things like speak or, even move, work for grades, which become the primary measure of your worth. Think about it. The entire structure is built on compliance. You're rewarded for being on time, predictable, standardized. This isn't an accident, it's a design. This system was created during the Industrial Revolution, a time that demanded a new kind of workforce. It was engineered to produce factory workers, clerks, and employees. People who follow rules, people who trade time for money. The system was never designed to create owners, investors, or independent thinkers. And this is precisely why real money education doesn't fit this model. It fundamentally contradicts the core lesson of obedience, because building wealth requires a completely different mindset. It requires questioning systems, not just accepting them, understanding leverage to multiply your efforts, taking calculated risks instead of avoiding all uncertainty, and thinking long-term, far beyond the next report card or paycheck. These skills, critical thought, strategic risk, and autonomy, are dangerous for a system built on control and conformity. They empower the individual, and an empowered individual is much harder to manage. The skills they never teach. Have you ever felt like you were playing a game without knowing all the rules, especially when it comes to your finances? Ask yourself this: why did you spend years in school memorizing countless facts and formulas? You were taught trigonometry, complex chemical equations, and obscure historical dates, all intellectually stimulating perhaps, but how often do you use them in your daily life? The system made sure you were well versed in abstract theories. But what about the skills you actually need to navigate the real world? Why weren't you taught how compound interest can make your money work for you, growing exponentially over time? Or how inflation silently erodes the value of your hard-earned savings, making you poorer each year? Did anyone explain the fundamental differences in how taxes work for employees versus business owners? A secret the wealthy have used for generations? Or, most importantly, how to acquire assets that generate passive income, the true key to building wealth. The impact of this missing education is staggering. Here's a real example. Imagine two people starting their careers at the same time, earning the exact same salary. On the surface, they're equals, but one understands the language of money and the other doesn't. Fast forward 20 years. One is financially free with their assets paying for their lifestyle. The other is trapped, still living paycheck to paycheck, wondering where it all went wrong. The difference wasn't their income, their intelligence, or their luck. It was their education. A specific type of education the system is designed to withhold. So why do schools avoid these critical money topics? The answer is simple yet profound. Financial knowledge creates power. Power creates independence, and genuine independence creates fewer compliant workers and consumers. The system, as it's currently built, thrives on a population that is dependent and financially fragile. It doesn't want you to be free. The salary illusion. From the moment we're old enough to understand, society sells us a single, well-trodden path to success. Our parents, our teachers, the entire system, they all teach you to believe this lie. Study hard, get a good job, you'll be safe. It's the promise of the corporate ladder. A predictable, secure journey where each step up brings a little more comfort, a little more security. But here's the critical distinction they forget to mention. Safety is not wealth. That salary you work so hard for, think of it as renting your time. It's temporary permission to earn. You're paid for the hours you put in, and the income feels stable, but it stops the moment you stop working. The moment the rental agreement on your time expires, so does your income. True wealth isn't about renting your time. It's about owning assets that work for you. Here's the harsh truth. Most people with good salaries, even six-figure incomes, are living in a state of fragile stability. They are one layoff away from panic, one medical emergency away from debt, one recession away from crippling stress. This isn't a personal failure. It's a systemic one. The rule book for financial success has changed, yet schools never explain the new rules. They don't teach you the difference between active income, where you trade time for money, and passive income, where your money works to make you more money. They don't explain why owners and investors often pay a lower percentage in tax than their highest paid employees. And they certainly don't explain why inflation is a silent tax that punishes savers and benefits those who own assets. This lack of education isn't an accident. It's by design. It keeps the workforce compliant and dependent on a system that benefits the few. Because once you see the illusion, once you truly understand how money actually works, you can't unsee it. And that's the first step to breaking free. Real life example. Let's look at two students. Student A studies hard, gets a high paying job, upgrades lifestyle with every raise, saves what's left. Student B learns money outside school, invests early, buys assets, automates finances. After 15 years, student A is exhausted, anxious, and dependent on salary. Student B has options, flexibility, and control. Same education, different knowledge. Schools prepared one to work. Life rewarded the other for understanding money. Section 5, why this continues. If schools taught money, fewer people would accept bad jobs. Fewer people would drown in debt. More people would question taxes and systems. More people would build assets early. That creates a problem for systems that rely on predictable workers. So instead, money education is optional, hidden left for people to discover late, usually after mistakes, usually after struggle. Conclusion, here's the truth. Schools didn't fail you. They were never designed to make you wealthy. But now you know, and knowledge changes outcomes. You don't need permission to learn money. You don't need a degree to understand wealth. You just need curiosity and action. If this opened your eyes, stay here, because this channel teaches what schools never will.